Hi, this is Lethea with Farmview Creators. Today we're going to work on decoupaging a blank insert for the Interchangeable Farmhouse Frame from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. First, I printed out some printables from Etsy onto rice paper, and then I got out my blank. I want this to be a double-sided piece so that I can just flip it around when the season changes. I went ahead and painted one coat of Farmhouse Linen Mineral Acrylic paint on both sides of the board and made sure that that was really nice and dry. I love the Chunky Farmhouse Frame. It sits right in my doorway at my house so that when people come over, it's the first thing they see. I change it out frequently. I have several inserts for it. But I wanted to try this decoupage with the rice paper. I got my rice paper from Amazon. It was a pack of 100 sheets for not that much, and it prints really, really smoothly with my printer. So I measured my blanks, and then I'm measuring my printable just to make sure I know what's going to show and that it is big enough. I did resize it with Google. I just inserted the picture and then resized it. It was quick and easy. These printables are from Rosemary's Girls on Etsy, and they're very rich in color. So I just kind of smoothed them out and bent the edges so that I kind of had a marker of where I wanted them to go. And now I'm going to go in with Paint Couture's Decoupage Medium that has a matte finish. I love matte right now, so I'll use the dead flat at the end. And then I'm just smoothing that on there really good. I smoothed from the center outward to make sure that I did not have any air bubbles. If I did have any air bubbles, I could have taken a pen and just kind of popped them and then smoothed. You don't want to use a lot of the decoupage medium with rice paper, because if you do and it gets goopy when you're smoothing, your rice paper will tear. So you just have to be careful and mindful of that. I know from experience. I let it dry completely, and then I went around and sanded off both edges. I kind of got a little anxious about sanding and thinking maybe I should have completed one side and then gone back and done the other. But because I was sanding at a 45-degree angle, it came off with no problem, and I'm just kind of smoothing and making sure all the edges are nicely sanded. And now I'm going to go in with my Paint Couture two-step crackle. I'm putting the first step on with a clean dry brush all over the printable. As I was doing this, I remembered that Christina from the Rust Covered Cottage had told me once to be mindful that if you're working on a porous surface, you might want to seal it first. And so I did have to go back in and do 2 layers of the crackle to get the crackle effect that I wanted, but that's no big deal because sometimes I do 2 layers anyway. So I let the first coat dry really well, and then I put on the second, and it didn't really have that much crackle. So on the second side, I went ahead and put a layer of dead flat top coat on there before I even started the crackle. I went in and made sure that was really dry, and then I went back in with step 1. And with the crackle medium, the thinner your layer, the smaller your crackle will be. The thicker your layer, the larger your crackle will be. With each step, you want to make sure that you are using a clean, dry brush, and make sure that it is totally dry in between each step. It does better if you let it dry naturally, which takes about an hour. I did let it dry a little on its own, and then I force dried it because I'm not a very patient person. So then I went in with that second step. I'm going to make sure that it gets really dry. And honestly, it still did not have as much crackle as I wanted it to have. So I did another layer of the crackle medium on both sides, and I got the effect I wanted. So on the barn side with the spring flowers, I went in with the Antiquing Glaze Light Brown Sugar. I thought about using my Debbie's DIY Dark Wax, but I didn't want to darken it up that much. So I just put a layer of that on, let it sit for a minute, and then I used a dry paper towel to wipe it back. And I love how that crackle effect came through with that. You couldn't see the crackle until you put that on there. So it did exactly what I wanted it to do. And then I'm just giving it a top coat of my dead flat, and you could actually see it as I was drying. You could see it taking out the shine from the crackle medium. And on the back side with the sleigh, I wanted to use a little bit of sparkle, so I used the champagne metallic glaze, and it did enhance the crackles, but the crackles on this side were really, really small because evidently I did my layers very, very thin, which is unlike me. But I do like how it kind of shined it up a little. I did wipe it back a little. I probably could have left it just like that, but I wanted it to be more subtle. And then I went in with my dead flat top coat to kind of take out the shine of just the crackle medium, but it still let that champagne metallic glaze come through. And there you have it. I just sanded the edges to make sure that I didn't have any goop, because I do want it to fit inside the frame. And then there's the frame. I love this frame so much. Love how it turned out, and you just flip it around as your seasons change. This set comes with 3 blanks, and there you have the finished products. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a like and a subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.